And we're live. Welcome to Earful of Dirt, the Game of Thrones edition.
You need to get some pillows up to absorb the sound.
Oh, is it bad tonight?
Oh man,
okay.
There we go. We're better.
Okay.
Do I need to be Corey? Hi guys.
Hey guys, how's it going? So listen, we're starting a little bit early tonight. The main reason for that is because we had some gripes last week. Folks were a little concerned we may have been spending too much time talking Game of Thrones. So
we're gonna start early to talk Game of Thrones.
Exactly. So that we can go ahead.
You're full of dragon fire.
For the next 7 minutes.
Yeah.
So Aaron, tell us what you thought about last night's episode, and please be aware this will include spoilers. So if you have not watched the episode, come back at 8 or come at 9 for the regular show.
So if you cinematography, directing, the acting, really good. You know, I can't the best way I can explain this episode and even this season is most people got lost. Like season 2 of Westworld lost them. Yeah, season 8 of this is losing me. Dan and Dave, I'm so happy that you are not involved in the prequel projects because you have ruined this. Thank God the old man, according to Barristan Selmy, has finished the books.
Dude, you are so dramatic, bro. They did not ruin.
They did horrible character development across the freaking board, especially in this episode. Yeah, you're going to complain. You're going to tell me, Jamie's character development got freaking yanked. Well, yeah, it did. The interesting thing.
All right, well, because I already told you that's what I think, but
I think people are like, no, that Dragonfire, the Dragonfire is left over from King Ares. I think that most people don't remember how much Dragonfire the alchemists were told to commission. Like, so Tyrion goes up and be like, yo, I need some of this. I need some of this. You got any more of that Dragonfire? And they're like, yeah. And then he's like, oh, really? He's like, I just need a little bit, And then he walks in.
We got a fucking lot of it.
And they walk in and he's like, who commissioned all this? He's like, the queen. And he's like, whoa, this is a whole lot. This is a lot more than I need. Mm-hmm. So I think that's like, even after the Sept of Baelor, she, like, the city ends up being trapped between two mad queens because, they were like, well, I'm accepting women refugees into the Red Keep so that she would have to come through her own people. Well, I think the place was rigged to blow.
Little did she know she's also a sociopath.
Yeah, there you go.
Some people, it's just buried a little bit deeper down, but instead of bullying, it was just being denied the Iron Throne that brought it out. But honestly, dude, so I just have to say, I have to disagree with your assertion that there's awful character development across the board. So I will start out with where I agree with you that Jamie's character development was absolutely butchered. I had some hope for him. So where it started for me was when he left Brienne. But I had some hope. I was just like, maybe he's going to go to King's Landing, try to convince, Cersei to see the light. Then he's going to realize, what am I doing? Like, why did I even come? I got to kill her. And I thought Jamie was going to get the kill on Cersei. I thought he was just, holy crap, this is my destiny. I am the Kingslayer. I am destined to be the Queenslayer. But obviously that didn't happen. I will say it was great to see Cersei go down, just witnessing her entire empire crumbling. I really, really did enjoy that. However, on the parts of Tyrion, on the parts of Varys, you see Tyrion, the bad decisions are starting to pile up. And previous to now, we've always seen Tyrion as kind of the Mary Sue of this show, where he just, he can do no wrong. He is always one step ahead, even in the darkest of times. But now we're seeing that the Tyrion is immortal. Like, he is, just as prone to mistakes as all the men that he constantly berated for being stupid and he thought to be below him intellectually. He's now making the same mistakes that they are. And look exactly where it brought him. Daenerys was, absolutely right. It was Tyrion's fault, basically, that all of this spread. So I really liked it in that regard. I think Tyrion's one of those people that's pretty underrated in terms of like where the show has brought him.
You sort of make a point about Varys, and this is where, like, I think he completely screws this up. He's already in the mode of, this woman is mad, she's gonna just burn it all. And what does he do? He's like, you know what? It's
I'm going to sit in my study and I'm going to write letters.
I'm just gonna screw. I know they're watching me. I know. I'm just gonna write. I'm gonna write, and I'm gonna
get those letters.
All the ravens we got. I'm gonna send them all. I'm gonna send all the ravens. Of course, one of them got read, and Tyrion's going up there. Is like, yeah, he did it. So basically, I think a catalyst to this, like a trigger puller for Daenerys getting maybe even worse, is definitely Varys deciding, she's so bad that I just gotta end it. Except that instead of, his hopes and dreams of Jon Snow saying, "I will take the Iron Throne and puts her in chains for it now." He gets eaten, and maybe it was just better that we just start from a clean slate, like just don't have no King's Landing no more, and rule from some other castle. I don't know. It's interesting. I wouldn't say they're not intelligent human beings, but Dan and Dave are professionals. They got to this point, but I think that their desire to end this show quickly and get out of the project, or I don't know.
Can we agree?
What I'm saying is they suck right now. They've had six really amazing seasons, and this is the one season in a compressed timeline that has like double the amount of money spent on this season than last season, and there were a lot of character arcs totally like screwed up because they didn't spend the requisite amount of time to, I guess, implant the needed thing, the I guess more recent like character shifts within the personality to give you, oh man, this chick is just gonna burn it,
I mean, can we disagree that this season could have absolutely been 10 episodes, and there's no reason not that?
Oh yeah, I think like
as I understand it, they were offered 10 episodes and they turned it down.
Well, yeah, I mean, so they did that last season, right? They did 7 instead of 6. If you have 7 episodes, if you have 10 episodes last season, and then they fund it, I mean, HBO was funding it. This is a cow that, the udder is not the udder on this cow ain't going dry, because they've got 3 projects in production, which one of them the pilot should premiere this summer apparently.
That cow's going right in the stall, right next to Star Wars.
Yeah,
that Star Wars cow. That poor thing.
This season could have had 10 episodes with long episodes too. Because think about like the Battle of Winterfell was 55 days of filming. Like, if it was 55 days of filming, how much stuff did you just junk? That's what I wonder. Like, how much of this script did you just throw out the window to sort of get to where you wanted to go? Could Daenerys have gone mad in a more developed sort of way? Yes, I think. They made a point to bring the Valonqar prophecy into the show with Cersei. So her not being killed by one of her brothers was very annoying. I mean, but I will say, in a way, Cersei didn't get what she deserved, but it was some type of justice to where she just died with her kingdom crumbling upon her.
So I think that kind of sorry, I keep having to remember I have to talk quiet. So that kind of gets to my point, though. My biggest issue, even beyond the script, is, well, I guess it's kind of the script. It's just the fact that we have had so much buildup. The entire series has been about, oh my God, winter's coming. Oh my God, the Lannisters are in charge of the Iron Throne. Oh my God, all this type of stuff. And they dispatched the Night King in one episode. Just it's done. Okay, that one's taken care of. Click, take that one off the list. Okay, oh, Cersei's dead. Okay, no problem. Now we got that off the list. It's like there is no payoff for all of these years and years and years of buildup. And it's driving me crazy. It's like so compact and so I'm just not feeling it at all, like at all. So it's very frustrating.
So I want to make this point, and this will be the hill that I die on. Euron Greyjoy did kill Jaime Lannister. All right, because
man was dead, right? Man was dead.
Well, yeah, no. So if he hadn't fought Jaime and given him those injuries, Jaime made it to Cersei quicker and possibly gotten down to the down the stairs before the entrance had caved in.
Oh, for sure, definitely.
Yeah. I just want to shout out to Euron, man. He did it.
So Euron fights a delay action for his own personal satisfaction, and he dies. But the reality is, I guess the time lapse makes no sense to me because, like, the amount of steps that there is no freaking elevators in Game of Thrones. Just to let everyone know, they prove this with Bran. There is one. There's one at Castle Black.
At the wall.
There's one at the Castle Black, but outside of that,
Castle Black is OSHA approved. Damn it!
Actually, that elevator, I think,
there ain't no elevator in from the crypts of the Red Keep to the top to where he needed to go to grab her idiot ass, and the man would have bled out, but. If that action didn't get fought, he would have gotten there, and maybe they would have gone to Pentos and lived a happily ever after, or they would have been slaves inside a Pentoshi pleasure house.
Interesting.
There's a fanfic.
All right, guys. So, are you up for talking about some rugby tonight? What do you say?
Absolutely.
Oh, yeah, let's do it.
Real quick, just let me say, for those of you new to the podcast, normally we talk about rugby on Monday nights here on YouTube. This is Earful of Dirt, the Major League Rugby podcast, where we talk about United States Professional Rugby Union. It's our chance to look at the issues, hear from the league, players, and team leadership, and check in with our friends from across the U.S. rugby scene. So with that said, Aaron, why don't you tell us what we got coming up this episode?
Makeup games. Toronto goes 2-0, I guess really 3-0 in an 8-day period. San Diego solidifies their position atop the league standings with victory. Seattle pushes New York out of the top 4. Weather. I guess we're going to have some more makeup games. It is not winter we should fear. Question.
Apparently not. It's Texas rain. That's the problem here. So, first things first, Toronto played host to 2 games, one on Thursday night and one on Sunday. And need a little... So first up was Austin. That was Thursday night, took on Toronto and came away the loser, 13-24. Toronto won that one. And then they won out the weekend by beating Utah 21-28 on Sunday. So let's see. Liam, I think you're going to lead us off with a little discussion on this one. Tell us what you're thinking.
Oh, am I going to lead us off? Well, I may as well just jump right on into it. So Austin got out ahead to what I think was a 6-0 lead, thanks to the boot of their kicker. However, there are games where Austin looks really competitive, and this was just not one of them, if you ask me. There's games where they really put pressure on the defense, put them on their back heel. Again, this wasn't one of them. Top 600 meters, they had a miserable gain line rate of 8%. Toronto's defense, it's been criticized at times, but right now it's top 5 in the league, whether people like it or not. And they had their way with Austin. Meanwhile, for Toronto, I really love the talent flash by Leonardo Levias. 112 total meters, wasn't even top 3 on his team. Plus, the kid is only like 22 or 23, so big ceiling there. I thought this was a great game for Toronto, just in terms of showcasing talent. There was a lot of young guys on this team that they wanted to save for the weekend game, obviously. And I think this was a game that if, had they lost and given Austin that first win, I don't think it would have been, morale breaking. But the fact that they were able to get this win and, continue this winning streak right now, especially in the playoff push, they're a legitimate contender right now. And I got to give them props.
Oh,
so are we going to go ahead and talk about both Toronto games? Or do I need to let you speak it?
No, just I was going to go through. Whatever. So I guess I don't have a lot to say about the Austin game. Hats off to Toronto managing 3 matches in 7 days. Solid stuff. Austin's had really nothing new. I would say people think, at least, when they play against each other, that they're relatively competent. Scoreline gives them a good acquittal. I didn't really – they can't turn – I don't know when they're going to turn the corner. Probably next season, whatever that is. Probably halfway. But the scoreline really shows that they weren't in this, but it didn't get away. Like, their defense is still like of the two. Austin's defense is very good. If they could have a competent attack that could at least get to the game line. They might have had
8%.
They might have had
8%.
Not in this one, but I'm saying they might have a win. I think the attack sort of you still saw the pattern and what they wanted to do, but they sort of went backwards. Obviously, with an 8% gain line percentage rate. So Toronto, they got a bunch of guys some time, which was really good. To see some of that depth. Some people are saying, hey, they have the deepest bench. I think the difference with Toronto is not that they have a deep bench. It's that their bench right now is the healthiest, even with, the likes of a Jack Ney, who is out for the rest of the season, who really wasn't available that long either. He was only able to play in 2 games, and they're sort of missing him. And we'll go into some of the guys that were out in the second game.
So, Aaron, let me ask you this. Are the Houston SaberCats Austin's last chance at a win this season?
Yeah. And I think I think but here's the thing. Austin is also the Houston SaberCats' last chance at a win too.
We're going to win the game. I'm not putting out any energy into the world as if the SaberCats are going to lose that game, Rob. Austin's going to have to come into Aviva with a very, very hungry SaberCat squad ready to feast.
So New York, the way New York was looking before this weekend, I thought it was kind of interesting. However, Carl Marsh is this weekend. He showed that he's fully healthy. It took him 3 weeks to get back into full form, but he can kick, he can dish, he can burst through the gain line, he can do everything. So I think they ain't gonna get a chance when they travel to New York. I'll tell you that right now.
So I just want to say I'm laughing really stupidly because you use the word dished, right? As when I first met Cahill Marsh, we were putting food on our plates at the buffet after a game, and that's where I struck up a conversation with him, and I was thinking about that right as he dished, and I was like, he did indeed. Shall we talk about the Utah game there, man?
Yeah. Let's talk about the Utah game.
Yeah, all right. Hold on. Let me do my Luke Beauchamp voice. Yeah. Hey, Poachie, how you doing? No, I'm not doing that. So for Toronto versus Utah, so talk about Utah looking good, getting some stuff done, but still not coming away with the win. This one has to hurt like hell because not only do you give away a line out near the try zone, but your late scramble out of your own try zone at the end of the game, it just looked kind of cluster fucky. I don't know. Utah outgained the Arrows 750 meters in a 52% possession advantage to only 569 meters from Toronto. So weird kind of big disparity there. But then again, I actually haven't seen any numbers on this lately, to be honest, but it kind of seems to me like the Arrows aren't even ones to rack up the meters like on a week by week basis.
It's
usually like it's like a ball control forward.
They're very kicky. You know,
Yeah.
like I think one of the things that they've shown is that they like to kick the ball. They like to put it in play that way, but
I mean, you look at that forward pack though. It's guys who have engines, like So I can't. I'm not on the page right now, but I'm pretty sure they have a lot of 80-minute players. On a week by week basis.
In this game, in the forwards, there really there wasn't a whole lot, at least up front. But I mean, still, you get Andrew Quattrin 70 minutes, Shep 80 minutes, John Moonlight 78 minutes, Milazzo 80 minutes. So really, their back row can go the distance every time.
I just want to talk about Johnny Moonlight, best name in rugby. I would honestly love to see somebody kind of come forth with that. Okay. But hold
up.
Yeah?
You're saying that Johnny Moonlight's name is better than Harley Davidson's name?
Oh, fuck.
Oh, yeah. Actually, yes. The Mooner unless Harley Davidson ends up on the Eagles 15 or on the Eagles 7s, I don't think that's going to happen, sadly. It would be nice, though, if and then you just hear, I need to pull some, like a Johnny Moonlight tribute, but man, there are some great calls on his games. It's like, and Johnny freaking Moonlight, and it's like Johnny's great.
Johnny Moonlight's the name you put on your fake ID when you're 16. No, actually, no. I don't even want to say that because the name Johnny Moonlight is truly badass. It's a stage name or something like that. I don't even know.
John Wayne.
If Johnny Moonlight showed up to every game wearing sunglasses, a leather jacket, and smoking a cigarette, I literally would just be like, "That's Johnny Moonlight, man."
Oh man.
All right, but anyway, Johnny, if you want to hit me up about a potential acting career, maybe we can float some ideas. But I want to talk about your teammate Dan Moore, dude. Because one, I was saying how Toronto usually employs this very controlled attack ball, other than the kicking, like we said, they have some big talent in the forwards. Dan Moore, though, is one of those people that defenses get worn down making the tackles on the Toronto's forward attack. And then you have people like that in the back who can just open it up. And, by the time that the entire defense has kind of been pulled in, through this, near pick and go strategy, there's not a whole lot of defense out there. And that's why, again, Toronto, that they don't always rack up the meters, but they do score the points, and, as evidenced by their recent win streak. But you want to talk about another huge disparity in this game. Toronto made 197 tackles compared to only 133 from Utah. And we always talk about in the show, how usually if your team is making a shitload of tackles, you aren't scoring a lot of points.
So you look at that one, right? It's sort of very similar, and you could take this whichever way. But the way they're playing defense is sort of very similar to the way San Diego has played defense. They are just for the most part, I mean, they were on the back foot a significant portion of this game, and then they just shut it down.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, it's hard to play. The thing about San Diego, I was in a coach's meeting, with the SaberCats, and they mentioned this. There's speed on defensive transitions. So if San Diego loses the ball, there's no hiccups in terms of the way their players can position themselves to for the counter attack. And that's something that a lot of teams, especially the SaberCats, have been aiming to do recently. San Diego is just essentially seamless in terms of how they transition from offense to defense, and it's pretty damn enviable. However, we're not even talking about San Diego yet, man. We're getting ahead.
Hey.
Yeah.
So I mean, let's.
So I do just want to wrap up with the Arrows. They managed to hold the Warriors to under 5 meters of carry, which again, when you need to kill the clock, making tackles near behind the gain line is your best friend. And the Warriors, they're another one of these teams that have a huge line break threat, all throughout the back line. And so when you keep them to under 5 meters of carry, that's definitely saying something in terms of how your defense was able to shut them down.
One of the things to look at, especially in this game, and we're seeing it, most teams that commit a lot of penalties better not turn over the ball, because if they lead both categories, they're going to lose. And in this game, even though Utah had 750 meters gained and then made 728 meters from their kicking game, so they played really good ball position, and then they also had a higher pass differential. They had 43 more passes. So in theory, they were trying to break through that defense. They conceded 19 turnovers and 11 infringements total, with one penalty conceded and one free kick conceded. So you're definitely going to lose there. They had a faster quick ball. Like, their breakdown was really good. Some jackling where they suffered. And it was interesting. I think people were saying, why are the commentators talking about the scrum dominance of Utah? I will say, statistically speaking, Utah did win 100% of their scrums, but the thing that something they've struggled with has been their lineout. They were only 67% on their lineout in this game, which, for such a close game, it really negatively affected them. Overall, this was an arrows hammering away like John Henry. Just strike.
Beat him up, break his neck.
But I guess one player I sort of want to highlight, I think Pat Clifton talked about this guy, although I don't think Pat really knows this guy's story. But so Morgan Mitchell, he's a smaller prop. He's like 5'6", 250, sort of very Juan Echevarria type as a tight head prop, very small, powerful, stout. Not really a Ben Obano. Ben Obano is bigger than both of those dudes, but Ben Obano's a loose head. Normally, your loose head is a good, at least an inch or two longer than your tight head prop. But Mitchell, like, he's more special than just being a smaller guy. Like, this is a guy who has made it. Played a lot of minor 10, made it into Highlanders training squad. But the thing that almost stopped him from playing rugby 2 years ago, is the fact that he's deaf. And in order to continue playing rugby, he had to get a cochlear implant in both ears so that he could hear people. For a while when he was playing, I think for the Southland with the Stags in the minor 10, he was completely deaf. Like, he had something had been done so that he could hear a little bit, and then an injury. I'm not wholly sure here, but he went back to being completely deaf and could only read lips. So, luckily, I guess his surgeon was a rugby guy and said, "Hey, this isn't a big deal. If it fails because you're playing rugby, we can do it again. We can repeat the surgery, and as long as you wear a scrum cap, you can scrum." And he did scrum very well.
Scrum he did
Against both first Franco Vandenberg and then Huluhala Mongoloa. He actually made Huluhala concede 2 scrum penalties. So if you want to look at how teams do, you want to see how they concede penalties in the scrum as well.
Excellent. So we had those games on Thursday and Sunday, but in between on Saturday we had 2 hells of matches. Holy cow, 2 very close matches. The first one of the day was San Diego visiting New Orleans, and they came away with a win, 26-19. But it was quite the effort on San Diego's part to get that win. So, Aaron, why don't you start talking us through it?
This is a very interesting game. NOLA is what appears to be is one of the few teams that can bring the same physical intensity that San Diego has brought throughout the second half of this season. I didn't really know if they could do that, but they did do that. They weren't able to execute their attack as much as they wanted to, and had to play more of a ball position game. And really that was helped by the return of Scotty Gale. Him being back to fitness and being able to start at fly half is very important. They mentioned on the broadcast that Gale and Joe Peterson played on the same team in the Japanese top league, so that's kind of cool. New Orleans, they knew what their matchups were. They knew that they needed to exploit space, and they did that. With Scotty had 11 kicks. We'll talk about Nick Feeks as well. San Diego, they were going to play their ball placement and offload style, which they did. Running hard, trying to break the game line. From Feeks and Gale combined, we had over 500 kicking meters. That doesn't even include JP Eloff, right? Both teams really sort of similar in how they attacked. I think, Nate Osborne just adjusted really what he wanted to do. They could still play a fast up-tempo game, but that San Diego defense really shifts what a lot of people do. But the cool thing about New Orleans is they have a lot of these backs that can kick. Scott Gale, Nick Feeks, JP Eloff, Tristan Blewett, and Con Foley. All of these guys, and Tim Moppin, all of these guys are able to kick, and all of them did kick on the weekend. What if I said San Diego tied this weekend for the lowest penalties conceded of any MLR team in this weekend?
I would believe you because I've looked at the stats.
but most people wouldn't, right? Because they are the leader in yellow cards, and they are the leader in total penalties this season. That's which really hampered them up in Toronto. But they held on to the ball just a little bit better, and they conceded a lot less penalties. I mean, both these teams conceded, I think it's the turnover. So turnovers was 16-19 in favor of NOLA, with 16 turnovers, and it was just really humid. They both played with a wet ball, but they only had 8 total infringements, but 6 penalties. Wow. That's different for them. I think that really had a significant effect on this game, because normally they commit a lot of penalties. Even though they have backs go down somehow, some way, San Diego has found, some guys just to throw there. I mean, some of these guys have played on the team all season, like Connor Kearns stepping in at 12 and then throwing JP Duplessis out to 13, where he's played throughout the year as well. Ty Enosa, when his first game when Joe Peterson got taken out of the game, I think it was a leg injury. He showed some great creativity. The difference now is we're seeing a Ty Enosa that is fully fit. I think, playing behind Joe, he's coming back to a level he hasn't been in years, and will probably develop better and beyond where he was as an Eagle. Will Holder, was critical of him last year with Seattle. This is a guy who has a lot of talent, and I think where I think he should play, and where some people have tried to leverage him, is not where he even played in this one. I think he's more of a center. He can distribute and he can kick. He does have some work to do when he was slotted off the wing, but really playing in the fullback role on defense. He did not have the wheels that Joe Peterson or even Mikey but what Mikey Teo has, and able to chase down some of those balls, and almost gave some of those up with the speedsters of the NOLA backline on the kick chase. What did he do? He is now 100% for kicking with San Diego. He only had to kick one conversion, but he did not really kick all that well when he was with Seattle last year. So that is a very good start for him in his second game. I think fitness for San Diego really is just much different than the rest of the league. They went from a not humid place in San Diego, chilling by the beach, to New Orleans, although by the beach, a much more humid place, and they went the distance. So as far as, we talk about marketing across the league and where things are, let's talk about where New Orleans Gold are in the consciousness of the state. Lieutenant Governor Billy Nungesser, was out to watch the match and enjoy some rugby. And he presented the NOLA Gold with an award, which I'm not sure what it was, but I will find out. But that really shows you where their outreach is. I mean, the State Board of Tourism is one of their main sponsors, so that shows you really where the Gold are as far as the consciousness of and getting the word out with rugby. Now they just need to get people in the stands. Although they're building, like their average attendance is much, well, I would say significantly higher because they're a small market team from where they were last season.
Real quickly, I'm sorry to interrupt. I did have to laugh at the Lieutenant Governor tweeting about that, though. He tweeted tonight about 6:30 Eastern time saying that congratulations to the #1 team in Major League Rugby. And,
they were #1.
They were at the time, yeah. So
#1 in our hearts.
Yep, absolutely. #1 in the state of Louisiana.
Now they're 2.
Anyway, sorry, Liam, please tell us what you thought of the game.
Well, I was just going to say that, in terms of endorsements in Louisiana, I would say it goes first John Goodman and then Lieutenant Governor. So they're checking off boxes, definitely. But, I think they started from the top there. Now they're here. Anyway, I love this game. I posted a poll on Twitter on Sunday night after all the games had concluded, asking fans what game they thought was a little bit more exciting, NOLA versus San Diego or RUNY versus Seattle. Now, RUNY versus Seattle won with a pretty commanding 71% in the poll, but it needs to be said that the Seawolves retweeted the tweet within 5 minutes of me sending it. So that might have skewed the results a little bit, but we'll talk about that a little later. Anyway.
Well, what was that really more exciting? Maybe it was more exciting to the Seawolves fans. Sorry, guys. You guys went out and thumped New York in the first half and then fell apart.
Silly New York. Comebacks are for Brady's. Anyway, I just want to say NOLA kept it tight, despite getting outgained by San Diego 808 meters to 576. Take a look at what they were doing with those passes. They only managed about 4.5 meters per carry, while San Diego came out with a solid 5.0 on the dot in that metric. Not a ton of penalties, as Aaron was saying, which makes a game like this even better. When guys can just let loose in open play, and it always makes for a great game, especially when these teams have the personnel that they do. It makes for really exciting rugby to watch. However, one glaring weak spot for the Gold, and you got to give it up to San Diego. This scrum is just amazing. But NOLA only had an 83 win percentage in the scrum today, which in the modern era of rugby where scrum halves can basically, flick it towards their own side, how does that even happen? Whatever. NOLA, they can be deadly when they're executing their starter plays, cleanly out of the set piece. But they just kind of gave chances away, when it came to this game, and I think it's a big factor in why they lost. Why they lost the ultimate result. However, they did manage 2 lineout steals, so props on that. San Diego had 2 players over the century mark in rushing, the ever-exciting Mikey Te'o and JP Duplessis. JP was actually credited with, I think, his try at one point accidentally. Don't know how that happened, just bad technical directing. But hey, Tristan Blewett also had 120 meters on the day, so that's another good thing for NOLA. NOLA still one of the top teams in the league, but they've definitely slowed down a little bit in the latter half of the season. Definitely going to be a playoff team, championship team. We'll see.
One of the things that I didn't mention was locks. And I mentioned this on Twitter that so Nikola Bursic has played lock before at the international level with G-League, but he has played a lot of 6 this year. Thank you, but he's smaller than Luke White, and everyone knows my opinion on using Luke White as a lock, as a tight head lock forward, right?
We all just want to see Luke White play. Whatever chance they have to get him on the field, I'm all for it.
I mean, these guys need to play, but one of the things that is hurting their scrum, I think, where's John Sullivan? Is he's injured? he needs to come back because it's just it's really pretty rough with lock depth in this league is really it's really struggling, and that's why we're seeing the likes of was it not Ronan McCusker coming into as a loan for a bottom place team in Austin. So we need to do better on finding locks. And by finding locks, I don't mean ones that play rugby, but possibly play basketball or football and investing the time to develop them. So.
There's even talks about taking a door off its hinges and having it play rugby. Some of these doors have great locks, man. Have you seen them? Especially in New Orleans, dude.
Problem solved.
Right? Modern problems require modern solutions, man. I grew up on Dave Chappelle.
So, Aaron, you already mentioned the outcome for Seattle traveling to RUNY, but Seattle did come away with a win in New York City, 38-31, in spite of a rough second half. Liam, take us into this one.
Corey, you sound like you're doing a podcast from a library, man. You sound like you're doing a rugby ASMR video, dude. And like, if you don't know what ASMR is, like, I very much implore you to look it up. It's interesting. Corey, you honestly could have a career. Anyway, I'll back to rugby.
Later on, I'll just be smacking my lips and drinking water.
Oh, gosh.
Yeah, the podcast will be going late tonight. It will be Corey rustling papers and making dad noises. You know, there's somebody in their house right now listening to this. It's just like, I mean, ASMR is not inherently sexual either, so I shouldn't even. But
let's be honest.
Oh, God.
I mean, it
right.
is a little.
Anyway, Seattle versus RUNY, final score of 38-31. This game lived up to a lot of people's expectations. However, I feel like RUNY definitely walked away from this one especially disappointed, considering just how tight this playoff race is and how many times they kind of gave this one away. In total of statistics, Seattle 810 meters total, RUNY 685. Here's a kicker that's always a good indicator of who might have lost. Turnovers, because RUNY had 11 of them, including one apiece in the breakdown and in the lineout. Yeah, you're not going to be a... Yeah. Is that another ASMR noise? Can we talk about Ben Foden? I'm going to talk about Ben Foden. 139 meters, dude. Great game out of the scrummy, man. It's... You don't see a lot of dudes with just his ability to move like that. You know, it looks like you might need like a 45 slug just to make it through his chest plate.
Yeah, but can he tackle?
It's going to take a 45 to bring him down, man. I don't think that's going to matter in the zombie apocalypse.
Does he tackle?
I haven't seen the statistics on that, Aaron, but I'm sure you're going to tell us something about it during your turn.
I'm going to say he doesn't tackle much, but...
Yeah, well, he definitely didn't tackle Matt Turner a whole lot because... Yeah, so Matt Turner, 160 total meters. And how many tries, Aaron? One, dos. I didn't even do the like his average meters per carry just because I was like, damn, on that. On that total. So yeah, big shout out to Matt Turner, huge catalyst in how the Seattle team was able to move it. However, Seattle they've shown some leaks on that defense. They've shown that when New York is allowed to execute cleanly, kind of like how I said with Nola, when they're allowed to execute cleanly out of the set piece, they're going to hurt you, especially with people like Cathal Marsh and Connor Wallace-Sims, who are not only pretty technically sound in terms of their footwork, but they have a high rugby IQ and they can absolutely burn you if you give them open space. And there's a lot of people on this RUNY team who have that ability in one way or another. Seattle, they're a great team when they're executing, and when they're balanced, they're nearly unstoppable. But if you get them just a little bit, on the fringe, if you get them on their back heel and just a little bit flustered, and if you can execute on them, that's the way to beat them.
So when it comes to like how this game worked out, It's really I missed a bit of it because of the scheduling piece, so I had to go back and rewatch them. This first 10 minutes really pretty even. Given the roster shifts with some of the guys being fully fit, I expected more from New York. I did pick the Seawolves originally. They accomplished that task, but they did almost snatch defeat from the jaws of victory. Like I said, and the minutes 11 to 19 show, the old Seawolves, they wrecked New York. 21 points in about 9-ish minutes. 2 of those tries come from Matt Turner just cutting up the body. That is the Rooster like a laser scalpel. Not just a scalpel, but a laser scalpel. And also Reichert Hadding getting after it as well in that sandwich of tries. Sadly, the attack for the Puddle Pups wasn't as good for them in the second half. I think New York responded with their own fitness and some pride. Played possession game and forced turnovers. One of the things that really affected Seattle in that half was, they committed a lot of penalties. In fact, they committed, 8 straight penalties, which really sort of led to some of these tries. Whereas same New York really had some penalties early on in the game. If you look at how the infringement flow works, and it really just didn't help. You got to keep your hands out of the ruck. You got to be really, guys. If you're gonna commit like 7 offside penalties, come on. That's not going to help you. Like, that's really the penalties and the turnovers really negatively affected Seattle in that second half. But at the end of the day, they were able to score more. So there we go. When it comes to some of these guys, the tempo. Let's talk about the tempo. JP Smith, which is fast service out of the scrum and ruck, which is much different. The styles of play between him and Mac are different, and it really allowed Seattle to push that tempo early on in the game. They didn't really have it, probably because of the turnovers, probably because of the penalties in the second half when they went before they went to Phil Mack, and when they went to Phil Mack, it just wasn't different. The judge himself, the Justice Sears Duru, had 18 tackles in defense, but a season-high tackles for Reichert Hadding with 26. Really good day from him overall. Nice to see for New York. Nice to see Cahal Marsh back into full fitness, slotting kicks whenever he wants to or needs to. Will Leonard. He played last week, but he played very well this weekend. And Dylan Fawcett. Interesting question for everyone. Is New York over-reliant on Dylan Fawcett? That's what I thought. You can answer it now, and you can hate me later on Twitter.
I don't think to say over-reliant is Dylan Fawcett an overachiever, I guess you could say. Because I think they want to utilize a balanced attack. They have the pieces in the back line and in the scrum to do it. I think Dylan Fawcett is just kind of a Mr. Do-Everything who, isn't screwing it up for his team in that regard. And there's people in this in this league who are Mr. Do-Everythings who kind of screw shit up.
All right, and Josh weighed in.
We're having our own conversation in the sidebar, so whenever you hear those long pauses, that's just like me and Aaron.
Josh said yes, that they're definitely too reliant on Fawcett. So,
yeah, Josh. Well, how about you join us on the goddamn podcast, and maybe you can give that opinion yourself.
But
show your face, Snoke.
All right. The last game of the weekend didn't actually happen. That one, just a quick note that Glendale traveling to Houston got rained out because of torrential downpours you guys have been having down there. Liam, what's the weather been like?
Dude, so this is no exaggeration. Like, I've seen like a lot of rain before, especially up in Vermont. There was like a lot of storms, around this time of year. That was the most rain I've ever seen in my freaking life in a span of 2 days. Like that, the night that huge ass like cell moved through. Like, so I guess what happened is like the Gulf of Mexico like was especially warm. It kind of stalled out, and as it stalled out, it just got all warmer and angrier. And then finally, like when it came through, like outside my window, like I could read to the lightning practically, and the wind was just whipping. The next morning, there's freaking shopping carts like all over my parking lot that freaking blew over the fence from the goddamn like a shopping center, like over my fence. Like I think they had to make it over train tracks. I'm not even kidding you guys. Like, yeah, so it was pretty intense. However, I sent you guys like in the group email a picture. Aviva actually didn't get damaged that bad, like if at all. There's a lot of puddles in the parking lot. The field was the field was okay. It didn't look that bad. We were on the practice fields today, and they were totally fine. However, I think a large reason as to why the game was canceled was the roads around it were just crappy. I tried to drive down Makawa Road, which is, if you're coming from my apartment, it goes down to Airport Boulevard, and then you take the right, and you're kind of going towards Aviva. Then I couldn't even get down it, dude, because there was just mad traffic and, branches and like emergency vehicles. And especially in that time, you don't want to get in the way of first responders. So it's best just to kind of go home and do your thing. But yeah, I'm going to get an extra paycheck towards the end of the month for my June rent, which is going to be.
That is a good thing. We're losing Liam a little bit.
Fix your internet. Dang it.
He'll be back in a second. Suffice it to say, that game has been rescheduled. So Glendale will be down in Houston on Wednesday, May 29th for a makeup game. So be on the lookout for that at the end of the month. All right, guys. Well, usually we like to go through and check out our horrible, terrible, rotten jobs we did picking the games. So if you're good with it, I'll just go ahead and quietly read through that list real quick. So first up, Thursday night, we had Austin at Toronto. That game was 13-24 in Toronto's favor. Aaron, you had Toronto by 10. Liam had Toronto by 16, and I had Toronto by 3. So Aaron, you're the closest on that one. For Saturday, we had San Diego 26 over New Orleans 19. Aaron, you had NOLA by 1. Liam, you had San Diego by 5, and I had NOLA by 5. So Liam, you're the winner on that one. For Saturday's game, second game, we had Seattle at RUNY. Seattle was the winner, 38-31. Aaron, you had Seattle by 5. Liam had them by 6, and I had RUNY by 10. So
sucks to be you.
I was going to say the takeaway here is I was the loser on all 3 of them.
Mm-hmm.
That's awesome.
So I would just kind of like to say I think I should be given a win for my pick on Glendale versus Houston.
So your pick on that one was aliens will pull the plug on our virtual reality at halftime.
Tell me they didn't. Prove to me they didn't.
Yeah, well, there was no halftime, so
that's what they want you to think.
The final game of the weekend was Sunday night's Utah at Toronto, and Toronto won that 28-21. And Aaron, you had Toronto. I'm sorry, I'm laughing because I picked this one wrong too. Aaron had Toronto by 5, Liam had Toronto by 10, and I had Utah by 3. Holy crap!
I mean,
Wow.
You weren't like dead wrong. You weren't like
to suck.
Yeah, dude. Like you.
No, I was wrong. Let's just call it what it is. I was wrong on every damn game. So, Aaron, take us through the standings as of week 16.
All right. It's a solidification with 14 matches played by San Diego Legion at a 10-3-1 record. Man, that point differential is sexy with plus 139. They have 10 bonus points, 52 total table points. At second, with 13 matches played, 9-4-0, 15 total bonus points because NOLA is very good at getting those losing bonus points. 51 behind, and we will get to see them in a couple weeks again in San Diego. Toronto is 9-5. I mean, there are some people not helping themselves, and they helped themselves with some victories and some bonus point victories this week, sitting at third with 48 total table points and some bonus points as well. Seattle really changed everything up for the league. 9-4, winning away at New York, 46 table points. New York sits in fifth at 9-4 as well with 44 table points. And I think it's just getting a little bit tougher for Glendale to sort of make it into the playoffs right now. They are 7-4-2 with 42 table points, but they probably, I would say, because they have a knack for gaining bonus points, probably finish in fifth. And New York might finish in sixth. That's what I'm thinking. I don't think they're going to make the playoffs. And Utah has also this knack for gaining a lot of bonus points. They are 2-10-1 at seventh. I don't think the SaberCats will catch them. They have 17 table points. And SaberCats at 2-10 with 11 table points. And, you know, same old story, same old story.
Dance. Yeah.
4 table points at ninth is the Austin Elites.
Yeah. Speaking of sucking to suck. All right, week 17 is upon us. First up on Saturday at 5 p.m. Eastern on ESPN Plus, we have the SaberCats traveling to New Orleans. Aaron, what do you think?
Nola Gold minus 15.
I'm going to go, I'm actually going to make a guess on this one. I'm going to, so for those that follow me on Twitter, at Poacher Rugby, definitely follow me. I have made a bet with the president of the Nola Gold fan club, Mr. Adrian. You are a good fan of the show. I do enjoy you. However, I am a gambling man, and sometimes the odds are not always in my favor. I roll the dice anyway. So, if the SaberCats fall to the NOLA Gold on Saturday, I will have to don a NOLA Gold cap. I also have a NOLA Gold necklace that that Adrian gave me last time we saw each other at a game, so I will be donning that too. However, if the SaberCats somehow win, now this is really weird. I'm all about, y'all know me, I'm all about Boston. I want him to write a 150-word essay describing to me exactly why the Tulane Green Wave, what a dumb name, is inferior to the Boston College Eagles. You know, that just a storied, history-rich university, college.
I feel like you're saying a lot of words, and I don't know what most of them mean. But
yeah, that's SaberCat meetings, dude. Like not the rugby meetings, like the media meetings. I'm just
I'm gonna go with a big win for NOLA on this one. I'm gonna say they win by 20 over Houston.
Yeah, Corey.
I'm gonna be right one of these weeks. Mm-hmm. Actually, the best thing I could do, honestly, would be to say that NOLA is gonna win at this point. I'm probably helping you.
Yeah.
All right. So next up on Saturday is Seattle at Glendale. That is 6 p.m. on CBS Sports Network. Aaron, what do you think?
I'm going Seattle -3, and this is going to be a high-scoring affair.
I am going to go with Seattle -10. It's going to be a pretty close game all throughout, but Seattle's going to eventually pull away at the 68th minute exactly.
And I'm going to go ahead and say Glendale wins this one, and just because I'm going to give them the home field advantage on it. So I think it is going to be a close game, though. The nightcap on Saturday is San Diego at Utah. That's at 9 p.m. Eastern on ESPN Plus. Aaron, what do you think?
Ooh, no. I'm going to go, Utah's going to do what they did, keep it interesting, but still a dominating win for San Diego -15.
I'm going to go not so dominating performance by Utah. I'm going to go San Diego -21.
And I'm going to go ahead and call this one a little bit closer than you guys. I'm going to say San Diego by 10.
Okie dokie there, guy.
All right.
Oh my.
Yeah, sure.
Oh, yeah.
That's good there.
Brian Ray just hitting his head against the table right now. I'm going to go out and get some Tim Hortons. I need to calm down.
Could you pass me the maple syrup?
Well, you're made of spare parts there, aren't you, guy?
I think it's like a Riggs shake is his current jam, which is just chocolate milk and vanilla. Apparently,
Yeah, Well, so Brian Ray, I want to challenge Canada versus Vermont in a poutine off. I will die on that damn hill.
So as far as I don't know about that poutine, but I saw some Southern poutine, and
don't even, dude.
Oh, hey, that regular poutine looks disgusting. I've never
What? Delicious.
Are you kidding me right now?
I will literally fight you.
Well, Southern poutine.
What is not to love about this?
Southern poutine is fries. Okay, obviously the fries, but then you got a sausage gravy. Okay, a little bit of cheese, and then a fried egg on top. Now that don't sound delicious. Well.
Everything in the South is delicious. That's not the point. Have you ever eaten a meal past the Mason-Dixon, dude? Are you kidding me? Like it's.
They still know what's good. They still know cooking with butter is the way to go.
Yeah, the South might not rise again, but I'll be goddamn if their cholesterol don't.
Boom. So the last game of the weekend is Sunday. That is Austin traveling to New York, 1 p.m. on ESPN Plus. I'm guessing we have similar outcomes on this one, guys.
Well, Austin ain't got a chance, but New York might just screw it up enough to not make a dominating win, but still New York -10.
Yeah. So unless my fan fiction novel of Cyborg PG Vandenberg comes true, I don't think Austin's going to pull this one out. RUNY -20. However, Cyborg PG Vandenberg, he changes the game.
Okay. Well, if that happens, we'll let you know about it next week. But until then, I'm going to say RUNY wins this one by 22. And that takes us down to my favorite segment every week. Questions from Bob. So just as a quick reminder, we get these, a lot of these anyway, off of our Reddit page. And so that's reddit.com/r/MLRugby. Be sure to check that out. And I post a thread each Monday. Try to get it up in the morning or Sunday night, asking for requests. So starting this off, one of our regular contributors, Say Nee, who is having a cake day today, so happy cake day, my friend, asks, I'm going to turn this towards me so I can actually read it. Does MLR plan to require an injury report similar to other major U.S. sports?
Well,
not to the media.
Not to the media, so yeah. I have to get these. I have to get these on my own.
I'm not allowed to publish them.
I have to make requests, and maybe GMs will answer the question. Not.
Yeah. So it's like sometimes it's like if you observe that a player is clearly hurt, then it's not like you can you're just gonna straight up deny it, be like, oh yeah, he's hurt, but it's not like teams are gonna be like, oh, so and so got hurt in practice and he's a little banged up, it's just
so gambling, that's what drives this stuff. I think as the league is concerned, I think they're working, or we are working on this stuff, but I don't know. There are projects in the queue, but I don't know the timeline of this specific one. Yes, you may think it's easy, but I will tell you that the systems used for this in other leagues are much more complicated than just an email, because it's insurance and all this other stuff.
All right. Colin45 asks, with Johnny Moonlight playing 3 games in a week, are we sure he's not a machine and actually a human?
Oh God. Cyborg Johnny Moonlight.
Johnny, he's an awesome guy. Not sure how much we'll see of him the rest of the season because his day job is one of Ontario's finest as a firefighter. So there you go.
So plays three rugby matches and still manages to save a kitten from a tree.
Yeah, there you go.
Good. Can we make a movie on this guy?
Yeah, I think so. Okay, Winter 0215. Is there a general sense of how the powers that be are feeling about this season? Do people think the underlying numbers are moving in the right direction? And I assume that's more attendance and viewership, right?
So attendance, we're already over 100,000 people having entered the gate of MLR teams. I think quality of play is still, like, even though we're seeing it kind of drop because of fitness, because of injuries, is still better than where we were last year. So I think the metrics as far as are overall good. I think I'm going to answer the question about weather, I guess, which would be a feeling. Like,
Yeah, I'm from everything that I've heard from the powers that be. Numbers definitely are trending in the right direction, and there definitely wouldn't have been so much investment on Aviva Stadium if there wasn't a belief that the league was sustainable. And like Aaron said, we've met expectations to a degree in terms of attendance, in terms of social media numbers as well. That's kind of a very underrated metric that a lot of teams do look at, especially in the marketing department. Another thing that you also need to look at is, I guess you need to like how are teams handling money and spending money? How are they developing academies? How are they reaching out to the community? And we've seen players visit kids in the hospital. We've seen teams start to set up academies, both youth and upper levels. So yeah, no, I would definitely say things are trending in the right direction.
All right. The Stalker Fang. Anyone know the attendance for Toronto, Utah?
I don't.
1224. I got that today from GM Mark Whitaker. As far as, so how many of y'all, I mean, the audience, y'all, or you guys, are going to sit, if you're attending a game, are going to sit through, like, sleet? Without like a cover, there's no cover, there's no shelter. Are you gonna? Okay,
I mean, you ever played rugby in Vermont, man? Freaking
no, I'll play the rugby, but I ain't watching the rugby. Do you get my point? Like I've played in the snow.
That's true. Yeah,
it's like I've played in the snow. I played in the rain. I'll do that, but I will not. Like I'm gonna to the house. Like, so yeah, 1224. I think given the conditions, that's a decent number. The arrows are very deliberate, so that number doesn't, as far as I can tell, based on my conversation today, like if it was like 200, they would be concerned. But I mean, it wasn't that much of a drop from last week compared to the conditions.
Fair enough. Okay, greetings ADM. If the Arrows aren't allowed home games in Toronto in January due to potential weather issues, shouldn't they make the same consideration for NOLA, Houston, Austin, and Atlanta matches in May?
I think we've learned some lessons about games in the winter, and that winter games aren't as bad as what some of the spring weather has delivered. Like the spring weather
wet, windy, and
created a delay for a game in Canada. I think we're also learning some travel stuff about when to leave. So it is what it is, and as this league progresses, we're just going to deal with it, really.
Yeah. I'd love to plan around it so I don't have to die of heat exhaustion in the humidity, but Southerners just don't give a damn about the humidity. And also it would just be one more thing to plan around, and logistics are already skewed, so nah. I'm just gonna say nah.
All right. Obcom asks, when can we get an official time and place for the finals? Or is it already set and I can't find it?
It's not officially set. We will let you know literally the second we get the email if it's not under embargo.
Yeah.
I 100% promise. We will not keep you in the dark.
The time is on the website. Click the schedule and then go on the filter and put MLR Championship. And it says Sunday, June 16th at 4 p.m. Eastern. Depending on the location, will partially determine that. And also, it's on CBS Maine. So based on their window is when we're going to play.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and just so folks know, the term embargo in journalism means that information is purposely withheld until a certain time. So there are instances in which, Aaron working for the league and me working for the SaberCats, we receive rosters, announcements and stuff like that we simply just can't break on Twitter like a lot of NFL or MLB and NBA reporters do.
At this point, Liam, you're just bragging.
Yeah. But I think it's also fair to say, because I think a lot of people sometimes are like, why isn't this information being spoon-fed to us by the powers that be? And it's just...
They have their reasons. So we will find out, and like Liam said, as soon as we know more, you can check us out on our socials, Earful of Dirt's on Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, and of course, reddit.com/r/MLRugby. So gave me a chance to pitch an ad. There we go. All right, switching over some questions from Twitter. We've got at RuggerUA. Any info on TV ratings for Heineken Cup finals on NBC this past weekend?
So I can answer this question because I did look. I can answer this question on Wednesday, but not today because the whole sample from Nielsen based on who it gets sent to is not published yet. So hit me up later.
All right. At LL Rugby. Seems like a lame question, but where do coaches sit in the MLR during matches? Are they on the sidelines, in the seats, in the press box?
They are usually in a more secluded part of the stands. So, for instance, when we were at Constellation and Coach Fitzpatrick was still with the organization, he was kind of along like the first baseline, like on like a concrete like platform, like that was usually used for standing room. Then like at one point, like I was like over like on the left field fence, like in like a seating area, and Coach Tolkien sat like a few chairs down from me to watch the Rugby United New York game. And then right now at Aviva, Fitzy's is going to be up in the box. Not Fitzy, sorry. Paul is going to be in the box.
I guess it's lame, but it's coaches are different. Like some coaches do the traditional thing and they go sit in the box and they radio down the calls that they send in. And I think a lot of Alan Yarday and a few other, there's probably like two other coaches that don't sit in the box. That's just is what it is. And some things is some venues don't give you high vantage points for coaches. If you guys have ever been to, I guess the coach's box is at Infinity Park is really not that high up. It's right next to each bench. So
really, I think the answer is it depends. I think probably the best seat in the house last season went to Seattle, whose coach was on the field the whole time. So. All right. At Michael Sasbo asks, is there any word on a unified streaming platform?
Yes, it's called Going to the Game. If you buy a ticket, you can just, I have no idea.
Well, everything is on YouTube every week. So there's a unified streaming platform. As far as next season is concerned, There are some discussions. I think the intent is to move everything back to ESPN Plus, but there's a lot of hands in the bucket that would make that decision happen. So
Now, are there still contractual obligations into year 3, or were those just 1 and 2?
I think the contractual obligations were either 2 or 3 year deals, but ESPN Plus is pretty simple. Like as long as you have a truck that can upload, they'll just take the feed. So they want content, so the negotiation to get to that platform, which is the largest sports streaming platform in the world. That is not, I think DAZN might be bigger, but DAZN is also trash. So there you go.
All right. And that wraps up the regular portion of the show. So I guess on our way out, guys, do you have any final thoughts tonight?
Shout out to the Lady Eagles on their bronze medal victory over France in Langford at the Sevens. One more win, which will happen at Biarritz. I think, the USA Twitter said we only need to show up for a game, but I think that's kind of weird. It might be true, but one more win, and it would be really hard not to get one win in Biarritz, but one win, and we are officially qualified top 4 for the Olympics, which would be amazing for both the men and the women to qualify directly out of the World Series for the Olympics in 2020.
That's a heck of a thing.
My only closing thought is make sure to tune into the Earful of Dirt Facebook page on Saturday at 10 a.m. Central Standard Time, 11 a.m. Eastern, for episode 4 of Saturday Morning Team Juice, where I will be previewing that weekend's slate of games. It's a pretty good show. But yeah.
And my only final thought is that I'm feeling pretty good about the fact that we only have 1 episode of Game of Thrones left. And so after this Sunday, my watch will finally be ended, and I will be able to rest.
Corey's just going to disappear like Luke Skywalker.
And my watch is over.
All right, fellas. Well, thank you so much, everyone, for joining us. On our way out, please note that all opinions expressed on the broadcast are those of the hosts and the guests and do not necessarily reflect the beliefs or practices of Major League Rugby teams or the league. Aaron Castro is employed by Major League Rugby. Liam Poach is employed by the West Houston Lions and Houston SaberCats. Please be sure to tune in next week, where hopefully my voice will not be this muted and sexy. We'll be live on YouTube next Monday night and available on your favorite podcast platform each and every Wednesday morning. If you like what we do, please subscribe to our YouTube and iTunes feeds. And if that really helps other folks find us. So thank you for that, those who have subscribed. And be sure to share your own news, views, and abuse with us on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. That's it. Thank you so much for listening. Until next week, go out and watch some rugby.